my name is Pablo Rengel, and this is the podcast of Power Bear by German Distribution, which is Powering Sustainability. Today, we have a very special guest, a visionary man, and today is his birthday. It's very special to me to present to Stephan Czech. Hello, Stephan. I'm very honored to have you here. And you are the man with a vision. And please tell us your vision. You're here from 15 years ago trying to build this beautiful company that you built. So how was it for you? How was all this history?
Well, I don't know whether it's a conclusion out of a vision or it was initially maybe a mission. I came here in 2005 in order to bring German standard waste handling equipment to the market. It was not existent, you know. There were no trailers behind a roll-on, roll-off truck. There were no double skip loaders. The containers were in old-fashioned, I'm not saying Arabic style, but in very basic style, fabricated. And we saw that if we want to change the world back to what are standards in Europe or in the US or in Australia, we have to bring a lot of passion and emotions into it. And that was what I was trying to do from the beginning.
It's amazing. And personally, what have represent to you this challenge? Because I imagine that it was a huge challenge to come here and establish everything from zero.
Well, of course, when you come, me with a lawyer background, you come into a country that is under a dynamic development where the achievements are not so easy to be handled, where you have a lot of hurdles, not even bureaucratic hurdles, because the government did really well in order to make business easy, but there were so many things that were not aligned. The road network was pretty okay, but the cars and the trucks on the street, they were 30 years old, they had no standards, there was nothing implemented, and we had to do so many things by ourselves. Even we needed a tool workshop or so. It was not just available at the next corner. The supply chains for all the materials that we needed were not established. So we had to learn our lesson by experience the hard way. And I must say it was difficult and I was sometimes very frustrated, but in the same time I'm happy to pick up challenges. And yes, the challenge took maybe a bit more time than initially expected, but what takes time also will eventually endeavor to the right level.
It's very nice. What do you feel in terms of the impact that Power Bear is doing now in UAE? Because now when you go to a compound or when you go to a municipality facility or a mall, we see the brand there, we see Power Bear there. How does it feel to see that it's like your baby is all around?
Well, you're right. I'm feeling proud when I see what we have achieved by recognizing the brand everywhere in the street. Now, the way of how it started was completely different. Power Bear was not even something that was on the top of the roadmap. Power Bear was a result of a problem. The problem was, how do we integrate several brands? There is a brand leader on an MGB, means a plastic waste bin. There is a brand on a truck. There is a brand on a waste skip. There is a brand on a baling machine. And somehow we had to integrate these brands to make the local people understand that the company who can integrate all this is the same. And that is how the brand Power Bear in the end emerged, and how we consequently, with a great team around, moved that brand into the level where it is today.
That is something to really admire a lot. So what do clients value most of it when they partner with Power Bear, with German Distribution?
Well, you said a right thing. You said partnering. Partnering means also something different than a typical buyer and taker relation. Partnering means that I add value. And customer realizes that there is someone who can add value to his own organization. And this is the whole concept behind. We want to make sure that we understand the necessities in a customer's setup, at least as deep as the customer understands. Sometimes we need to even be better and deeper into it because we know our product, we know the applications for our product, and the customer, for example, only believes he needs a waste skip or a waste bin while he needs something else. So it's my job and my team's job to educate them to the level of what is the best value proposition for his requirement. And this is how we define these partnerships that you have just mentioned. So coming to what a customer accepts most or what he sees beyond that partnership is, yes, we touch the 360 degrees of the customer requirement. We go also and see at the customer side or at the application side what is the problem there for which they need a solution. Of course, I may exaggerate. It's not when a normal litter bin will be placed in front of a supermarket that you need an analysis for the issue. That's a simple give and take. But there are complicated challenges here to be solved for developers, for example, the big ones like Emar, like Aldar. They have big shopping malls to run. They have big communities, gated communities to run. And there is not a black and white of a simple purchase. It's a solution. And we offer these solutions. But we have also learned during these almost 20 years of my journey on how we offer these solutions.
Of course, it needs the expertise. And it's like when you're trying to purchase something new, there is an expert behind it. And for this subject, which is so important now, which is the waste solutions, you found you teach the way of what the client needs. So this is very important. And how the customers take this when you open this gamma of variety of solutions that you can provide, while they have in mind some maybe simple, and then you have all the gamma of products. How you see the customers in that sense?
Yes, it's not only the customer, it's also a framework and a journey of a country. This country comes from solving big problems with simple methods first. Let's say the booming construction 25 years ago. Now we have already reached two different levels here. With the support of the government, there is a Zero Waste Act in place. We have recycling concepts in place. The bins are color-coded. There are so many things that we didn't even dream of 25 years ago. So that is the part of the journey that I can only say we are complementing, and we're trying to lead the show at the top of the game. But we are not the ones who are creating this. We may consult here and there also customers and government on how to do things, but we are not the leaders alone of that. What a customer sees in it is that he has a partner who is moving him in the right direction, showing him what is maybe on the platter for the next 5 years, not just right now, because a solution can be a sustainable solution, or it can be a quick solution. Yeah? If I consider that I need a waste bin right now, then maybe I just need one for 50 dirhams to put it in front of my office. But if I want to have this over a life cycle, and I admire also the aesthetics of it, the quality of it, the materials of it, and I have an eye for that, then I look different into the things.
Well, talking about responsibility, there's the extended producer responsibility. Can you explain us a bit what it's about and how German distribution is into it?
Sure. May I tell you a bit about my journey before I came to Dubai? I was, as a lawyer and as a consultant for creating and evaluating public tenders, responsible for the extended producer responsibility introduction into Germany when a new packaging law was just implemented. So I can say I've seen all the teething problems of such a structure that is coming in. And believe me, there are massive teething problems. So UAE can be blessed when they can bank on experiences that have been made in European countries 20 or 25 years ago, because we have the chance to not repeat the same mistakes. We can become better. But what does extended producer responsibility mean? We create basically a second channel of being responsible and recycling products out of the necessity that a producer has to understand what to do with the packaging and the waste that he produces. So I'll give you an example. We have a PET bottle. What does Masafi or Align Water actually sell? The water inside. But the problem that they create is a PET. It's a valuable resource in the end of the day, but if it's thrown into the trash bin, we will not leverage that resource anymore. It is lost for the community, so for the society. So what EPR means is I, Masafi, Align, or whatever is the producer, can also be Coca-Cola, I have to pay a license fee for this packing, for this bottle. And with this license fee, the government or the PRO, the so-called responsible body or entity, has to guarantee that this bottle will go back into the original production scheme. So it means what happens in a facility, these bottles will be grinded, they will be washed, they will be created into some so-called flakes. They may change and separate the lid from the bottle itself, because this may be HDPE and this is PP or this is PET. So we are looking into a predefined, clear downstream recycling process with the responsibility and the paymaster of the one who produces this packaging. And there is then, of course, a regulatory body, whoever is appointed for that, who will make sure that with this money that is paid into a cash, the right downstream recycling is happening, and that a report comes out of this which will show how does this impact on sustainability. So what are the recycling quotas of the total of produced PET bottles in a country? How much are we improving from year to year? Are we getting better with our recycling methods? Are we getting better with our collection methods? And. It's a very complex topic, but I'm super happy and confident that with the guidance of the right people in this country, the project will be a very successful project.
It's very important, and it's very important that every company aims to this. So thank you very much for that beautiful explanation. What is the German distribution contribution into the EPR?
Yeah, that is a very good question, because I was now talking about my own experience, my personal experience, and how is this company now involved? Well, honestly, I don't know yet. We are trying our best to get our foothold into the value chain that is just under creation. But imagine what is being built up here right now is a 1 billion dirham market. We are estimating the first phase of an EPR rollout at 1.2 billion dirhams or more, and that is a conservative estimation. Now, how does this 1.2 billion contribute or allocate to different segments? There are 3 main segments that are involved in here. The first part is the collection of the packaging waste that we are talking about. The second part is creating all the facilities to recycle these. And the third part is how do we integrate that then back in a circular market back into the original production. So coming back to this nice example with the PET bottle, first is that from you as the consumer, I must create infrastructure that this is collected well and is being dumped into a recycling facility. Then the recycling facility, again with the funds that are created here, the recycling facility has to make sure that the result of recycling of this bottle is the right one, bringing it down to the raw materials. And then it will be sent back to someone who produces PET and who reproduces bottles. So these three elements all involve heavy investments. You can imagine on a collection side, there are trucks and bins and skips that are required, additional to the existing systems today. And then the same on the downstream recycling. There are, of course, here MRFs and sorting facilities in this country, but the downstream recycling industry is still under development, and this will give a big boost. Imagine on the government's vision of in-country value creation. Yeah? So companies are being rated already under how much in-country value are they generating. This is going to be a big booster on the waste industry. And finally then, yes, it's a market thing. The raw materials have usually a value of a commodity, and you can measure that, and then the market will tell whether we implement this into new products in the UAE or outside the UAE. It doesn't matter.
It's a very heavy process that it's going to come, and it's a lot of learning to do also. So it starts from there, from the learning how it is, what it is, and then start doing it.
Yeah, and I think for PowerBear itself, I see in terms of proximity of our current business model, of course, the chance to provide the bins, the containers, and skips for the new collection system. And I do not know yet how much we will have a chance also to be a part of the downstream recycling. That is something that would require a widening up of the business model. But right now, people start talking about it. And I believe for the waste market here, it's going to be not only a big change, it's going to be a disruption. Because imagine today the waste collection companies, they are private companies, they are already collecting this bottle, but as a part of so many other things. And they are not getting paid separately for that. They're getting paid for the normal collection. Now the emphasis is a total different one. The emphasis is that someone takes the responsibility, has to pay for the packaging into a pot, into a fund that takes care dedicatedly with a separate waste infrastructure to handle this. And I'm really excited that this is happening.
Stephan, there's a term that we are learning, which is the side loaders that PowerBear introduced to the UAE market. Can you explain us a bit about it?
Yeah, thank you. Why I'm smiling, it is, I still feel that I'm learning. I'm not a very technical person by heart. The necessity of changing the way of collection was becoming apparent 3-4 years ago when the government's appetite of road safety and work safety was so much increasing. And customers started also to reflect certain waste collection models from leading countries in Southern Europe. So what is the differentiation, or what is a side-loading bin different than a normal standard bin? We have always collected here with rear end loaders. It means from the backside of the truck. In order to do that, you need, with your labor, to drag a bin from the curbside up to the point where the truck can lift the bin. So there is a hard labor work involved, and there is also a safety hazard involved. There were so many accidents that can be avoided. And the reason why a side-loading bin can be beneficial is mainly besides some efficiency goals that I will talk about later, but is mainly that you don't need a labor anymore to lift that bin. It's a fully automated process that is steered by the driver with a joystick and a screen. So we can say, yes, it's a high-tech, and is UAE ready enough for that high-tech? Maybe in 5 years we will have a comprehensive answer, but I am optimistic for that. So first of all, it is the way of how a truck collects a bin. And this is collected from the side of the truck, so the lifter is on the side. The lifter will, like a robotic arm, go out and lift the bin without any addition by a labor. That is number one, safety aspect. Now, in Europe, when side loaders were implemented, it had two other aspects. One is an aesthetic aspect. A side-loading bin doesn't look as much dirty or rubbish as a normal standard waste bin. It is something that is easier by design, integratable into an urban environment. And the efficiency part is that with the side-loading bins, we can lift up to 3.2 cubic meter of waste in one bin, while in the rear-end loading bins, usually the quantity or the volume is maximum 1.1 cubic meter. So imagine with one lift of a bin, you have 3 times more volume collected than with the first bin that we were talking about. And that is something where an overall ROI on a collection can be justified in a totally different way. But don't get me wrong, a side-loading bin is not the right bin system for every application. Number one, it's a very costly asset. So a side-loading bin costs around 8 to 10 times more than a 1.1 cubic meter rear-end loading bin. That can be justified only by either a longer life cycle, which I doubt whether that is the case, or it can be justified by an efficiency on collection. And that is what you have to prove. I mean, you save 2 laborers who have to drag the bin from the curbside to the back, because here it's replaced by a robotic arm. You have maybe 3 times more volume inside the bin. And because of that, you may be able to massively increase the efficiency of your trips. So the intelligence behind that is software. Everything has to come back into a database and into a report. And when you do it in a smart way, then it can be beneficial. But it's not for each and every.
Yes, it's absolute a new concept. And as you said, we must understand what is for, to purchase, to buy, and to know the returns into this. So specifically, where is better to put this type of side loaders?
Well, it's as I said, it's also commercially a combination of where am I willing to invest into such a costly premium bin. And then you need to ask yourself, where in an urban environment do I want to see something of more higher value and of maybe also less frequency of collection? Yeah? Because if I have 3 times the volume, then the truck has technically to come only 3 times less than for the other bins. Yeah? So maybe the other bin needs to be collected every day, then this bin has to be collected only once in 3 days. So to answer your question, I think mainly on the prime locations in the city centers, in areas where the streets are narrow, in areas where is a very high density of waste aggregation. These are typically the areas where the side loader makes most sense. I would not suggest the side loader to be in a rural area or in a deserted area. There it is not necessarily the most efficient system.
Stephan, do you have already projects for the side loader bins?
Yeah, good question. 3 years ago, I was asking myself, if we enter this new product vertical, what do we have to do in order to bring customers to that level? And you may be surprised, the customers were one step ahead. They drove it actually to us and were showing that they were ready to not only try it out, but to execute projects with it. So we have had a very nice project in Ajman, in one of the Northern Emirates, which was in the same time a good trial for us to learn from a side loading bin that as a supplier, it has almost 10 times more single parts than a normal rear end loader bin. So when I assemble this bin, I may need with my labor not 10 minutes, but 1 hour to assemble that bin. And I can make a lot of mistakes before this bin goes into the street and before it is even lifted. So these were things that we had the chance to learn live in existing projects, not by training ourselves, but learning by doing. And we were very happy. We also learned that the selection of the right suppliers is a crucial fact or a success factor. If we are using a supplier who has maybe a beautiful product, but when it comes to a big volume rollout of 10,000, 20,000 bins, he cannot produce on time. You know, UAE is always, you get your order last minute and you need to deliver tomorrow. So if I cannot cater up to that requirement with my supplier, then I choose the wrong supplier. And this was also something that we had to learn, who is reliable, who can manage the volumes, and who can sustain what is required here in the Middle East. And now there are 2, 3 big projects. We are currently working on one of the biggest projects ever in the world, awarded for side loading bins in Abu Dhabi. And the challenge is very big, but the project is also very big.
Good. It's good to know, and I'm sure it will be a success.
Well, this is our legacy in German distribution, that we are not picking up projects in order to make a quick money. We want to make it a success for us, but also for the customer. And if it is a success for the customer, it means the customer not only has to be convinced of something, but he has to be served in a way that we take him on the journey up till the success. And there will be obstacles, there will be challenges, there will be maybe partially failures, but we do not let the customer alone with that. We make sure that ultimately he will achieve.
So PowerBear has always offered an excellence in service. How can you ensure responsiveness across the users or the customers?
This is a very tricky question because I must admit that my company was not always at par. When we started our journey, 2005, 2006, we were a simple trading company. We wanted, yes, we had goals. We wanted to bring German standards in equipments to the region here. But we had no idea on what the market really requires on addition of services. And we had to learn that the hard way. So today I can say, yes, everybody in this company has it as a part of its DNA, that selling the product is the first part of the job, but he is not paid for selling the product only. He is paid for complimenting the customer when the product is in use. And he will take nice pictures with the customer in some day when it works all well, but he has to be there when a problem occurs. And I'm not saying the problem is a problem of the product. Sometimes the solution is very simple. The customer did not know how to lift this correct, or he did not know how to clean this product correct or whatever, but it's our job to educate them to that level. And it has become part of the way of how we work with customers. And that I'm proud of, that everybody in my team is following the same standard, not because I as the boss instruct him, but because he has made it part of his own job. And by the way, he's also paid for that on the top. He cannot leave the customer alone when the sale is done.
And that's amazing, because that gives the confidence to we work with PowerBear. We work with German distribution, and it's the company that we choose.
Well, we come back to what you started the interview today with when you were saying the partnership between a customer and us as a company. Yes, that is the whole concept behind. We want to create this feeling of a partnership and not this feeling of a final negotiated price with a supplier who is not happy anymore to sell this product because he's totally drained out. So I'm not saying that we are overusing the customer or we are overbilling things, but every service has also a value, and when a customer understands this, then he is also happy to pay because he will see that he can perform his own job better with the service that he is getting.
Yes, quality always comes with a price that is worth to pay.
Yes, and it has never been our goal to be one of the necessary lowest prices. Of course, I was challenged heavily when a couple of years ago the Chinese dominance became heavy in this market. Yeah? But markets are changing over the years, and either you are able to change along with the market, or you will be out of the market at some point of time. You know, nowadays, a classic trading company that used to put a 30% margin on their products 20 years ago, those companies are not in the market anymore. Now there are companies in the market who know how to leverage the value for the customer.
Where do you see PowerBear aiming to sustainability in the next 5 years?
Well, these are two questions in one. First, what are our plans in the next 5 years, and how do they reflect sustainability? But you are right, it's a combination. So I'm very proud to say that we have a very clear business development plan to move our business into the Saudi market, which is, besides the UAE, the most dynamic developing market in the region. And everyone can see it that in terms of waste handling and recyclable goals, there is a huge gap between what we have achieved here and what is the goal to achieve in Saudi Arabia. So to give you some examples, in many smaller regions and cities, we are not even having what we call a mechanical collection with a defined bin. There are drums, there are bags, there are just heaps of trash that have to be collected manually and taken away somehow. So the journey is very big and the challenge is very big, but the impact that we can make from it, when we only achieve 20, 30, 40% recycling out of what is collected today and is thrown onto a landfill, is also huge. So this is the part, expansion into Saudi Arabia. When it comes to sustainability in general, I would like to recap the topic that we had discussed previously, that is the EPR system, the extended producer responsibility. It will make a big impact towards recycling. It will make a big impact towards carbon footprint. It will make a big impact also when it comes to circularity. So the achievement that such a bin that has been produced one time with a commodity, with HDPE, high density polyethylene, it was done one time with virgin material. But now the challenge is, can I achieve the same quality of this bin with a recycled HDPE? And here the factories have made huge progress. There are the market leaders, at least, who can do this today, quality assured, ISO approved, without any impact on the life cycle of the product or on the quality. And this is probably the biggest game changer when we look into sustainability and circularity, because the tonnage of material that stands in all the streets is massive.
Amazing, amazing. Thank you very much, and happy birthday.
Thank you very much.
This vision that you have keeps growing, and that everything goes well for you and for this beautiful company. Thank you very much. Thank you for being here. We will invite you also, and we'll keep you posted, because we will have a lot more episodes that will aim to sustainability and to learn about all these beautiful subjects which we can talk about so much. So we welcome you to be in every Friday in the episodes of Powering Sustainability.